As you guys can tell, I obviously create content. Now I have a usual rod and gun setup, but that has recently changed due to the introduction of my Sony ZV-E1. In this video, I'll be sharing with you guys my 7 essential things that I can't do without regarding this new setup, which will definitely go through even in 2025. So, if you're creating content and wants to know what accessories make a huge difference, this video will be really interesting. Before we begin, just some light disclaimer. Most of the items on this 7 list aren't sent to me. I actually bought them with my own money after doing research and comparing with different models and options out there. They aren't also sorted by order because frankly, they are equally important. Last but not least, I'll put links down in the description below regarding all of the items that I mentioned, as well as any in-depth reviews which I did on them. Number 1 is the magnetic phone mount. Now, how did I manage to attach my phone over here? It's actually due to this mount. So I'll just remove it. This is the Ulanzi MA23. So what is neat about this phone mount is that you can actually rotate it. Okay, I'll show the other camera. I can actually rotate it depending on the orientation that I need. So all I have to do is just to take my phone over here, which has this MagSafe magnet, and just here once I attach to it. Okay, let's take a closer look. You can hear the magnet is really strong. So this is important because as I'm out about shooting, I need reference for my script. How could I possibly remember all the things that I mentioned or talk about in my videos? I obviously reference to a script which I actually written out beforehand. Of course, I'm not going point to point, but it's just good for my reference in case I miss out on some talking points. What's also good about this is that there's a Coldshoe mount over here for me to put my mics. Some other accessories out there will just give you the phone mount without replacing the Coldshoe mount itself, which is really detrimental for me because I rely a lot on my Rode wireless go-to, which is, coincidentally, our second item, my Rode wireless go-to. Now, there are 2 things that I particularly love about the Rode wireless go-to. Number 1 is that it has onboard recording, meaning that if I eventually lose signal towards my receiver, it actually records everything on board, which I actually extract out when I'm editing at home. This is important if you're outdoors and there tends to be a lot of interference. This is a lifesaver. Number 2 is the dual channel recording. Now, most of the audios out there will record both the left and the right channel at the same volume. Having this function allows me to record one of the channel at the lower volume so that in any case, any kid screams or any plane flies over me, I can actually use the lower volume channel to be able to rescue my audio. Having this is really amazing because it's near impossible to record very bad or actually distorted audio. Needless to say, the vocals recorded on this Rode wireless go-to is amazing, as well as the noise reduction, which are evident in the videos that you watch. Number 3 is the Smallrig Coldshoe adapter. Now, right beneath this whole setup itself, you will notice all of this rests below this Coldshoe adapter. Now, let me just remove it. So when you see up close, all of this rests on this Coldshoe adapter, which has this windscreen over here. Now, when you buy most of the ZV cameras, they actually come with this wind muff. Okay, let me just show you guys. Okay, they actually just come with this wind muff over here, which has this Coldshoe adapter. Now, the problem of this Coldshoe adapter is that once I attach it on it, I literally lose one Coldshoe mount, which you guys know is important because I use external microphones from like my Rode wireless go-to. So I don't want it to be replaced. I need it to be there. Having this allows me to keep my windscreen as well as have the Coldshoe mount. So once I attach it back here, I can attach whatever things I want back on top here, which is now my new phone mount. Now, to me, this is really important because most of the time, if ever my microphone runs out of batteries, I can actually rely on the inbuilt microphone on the Sony ZV-E1. Not having this wind muff over here will definitely hear a lot of rustling due to all of the wind noises. So this very little thing actually has a very useful and functional purpose, which I actually plan to keep. So if you're ever planning to get any of the Sony ZV-E1 series, this works well with all of them. Just get it. It costs about only 20 bucks. Number 4 is the portable light. So this is a new light actually I got from K&F, and you can see that it's really extremely bright. Okay, let me just go up to the maximum. So this is the minimum. Okay, Okay, minimum is over here, and here is the maximum. And just to show you, if you look at the back, there is this LED light over here which I can actually adjust the intensity, as well as the usual stuff such as the different color modes. Now this light is really good because it's actually really big enough. But one thing I did not mention is that it has actually a double purpose. Okay, let me off the light first. It also runs as a power bank. Right beneath here, you will see that there's this additional USB-C, which I can actually plug into to charge my mobile devices. So once I plug this in, okay, let's look at the side, and I'll just plug in my mobile phone. Ta-da! It actually charges. Now it has an inbuilt battery about 4000 mAh, which is actually more than enough for a day's shoot. Now why is this important is because sometimes there tends to be some incident which I actually forgot to charge my camera devices. So this is definitely an essential backup in case anything goes wrong. And accompanying my this light, I have this Ulanzi, I forgot what is this, Ulanzi MT-44. A cheap tripod which I actually mentioned quite a while ago. And what's good about this mini tripod is that the legs are extendable. So as you can see here, I can actually extend its legs to make it go taller. Ta-da! So this is good is because I can actually reduce one of the legs or retract one of the legs, and it can actually bend forward to actually direct the light downwards. In the past, I actually used this telecine light, which some of you guys will find familiar. Now this has served me really well. I like that it actually has different Coldshoe mount over here. 1, 2, and 3. But unfortunately, the surface area of the light that's coming out isn't strong. That's why I actually opted for this new device, which also has a double feature. So if you're actually doing product reviews out there and you can't control the light that actually you get from the environment, a light this size and of this quality is definitely recommended. Number 5 is tripods. Now this is not something new to you guys. You guys know that most of my videos are actually on mini tripod reviews. So the most common one that I use is actually this MT-44 and MT-79. Now recently there's been a slight tilt towards using more of the MT-79 because it can actually go taller and is slightly more sturdy. The MT-44 is good because it has this ball head over here. So this ball head is actually important if ever I'm on uneven grounds. The MT-79, on the other hand, does not have a proper ball head. You can see it's just a basic screw-in ball head over here, which is okay because most of the time I'm actually on flat ground. But if ever I'm in the forest or going somewhere which the ground is uneven, such as the beach area or somewhere in the forest, then this ball head will be useful. So in terms of the percentage I'm using, I would say this one is probably a 70%. While this one is now a 30% compared to 80% a while back. But either ways, I'll bring both of these most of the time just in case I needed another second camera. I have one other tripod for it. They are affordable and allows me for a very fast setup. All I have to do is just pull up and I can just attach my camera over here. Compared to traditional tripods which I have to actually put all the 3 legs out, it takes quite a bit of time. Now one thing also about both of these is that they have this red screw-in design over here, which allows me to tighten it. Okay, now let's just open this one over here. It's actually not going anywhere. It's really sturdy. The only issues with both of these designs is that if it's ever too heavy, it might actually just go down a little. That's why I try my best not to overload or make my main setup too heavy for this to happen. But frankly, it almost never happens because I make a very conscious choice to keep things light. The other way is just not to extend it at its fullest height to avoid that from happening. Number 6 is something familiar. Okay, if you can look up close, I have the ND filter. Now this ND filter is actually from K&F, which I really love. It's a 2-in-1 filter. You have the CPL as well as the VND. Now having ND filters is important because I actually shoot my videos in 24 FPS. And to maintain a 24 FPS, I need at least twice the shutter speed at 1/50th. So having this is really amazing and portable. And Most importantly, I don't have to change out my ND filters. Other brands out there, you will need to change out the ND filters, which is really troublesome. This actually simplifies things. Now, since we're also talking about that, you also see that there's something familiar, something interesting. Okay, I actually bought this lens cap from K&F along with the lanyard, and so as tie it across over here. Having this is amazing because you look, my lens cap does not fall off. It just sticks to it. And the whole color actually makes it look very harmoniously matched. So let's take a closer look at the side again. Alright, so here you have the ND filter, variable ND, and the lens cap. And once I put on it, no matter how much I shake, it's not going anywhere. Last but not least is SD cards. Now, it's often an overlooked element, but it's really important, especially when I get this new camera and plan to shoot at a new format. The new format that I'm actually shooting at is 4K 10-bit 422. So once I take it out, and you can take a closer look, I have a Lexar. Okay, this Lexar, you also will be able to see this speed, right speeds over here, which is really important if you want to record at a higher format. Now, comparing with my previous video, my previous memory cards, these are my previous memory cards. So if you're actually shooting a higher or newer format like me, you want to go for the memory cards that actually fits that format. In my new case, I went for the Lexar. Now, you will notice that in most of my previous memory cards, okay, let's take a look again, are actually SanDisk. Comparing with SanDisk, the Lexar is actually, in my opinion, about 20% cheaper than the SanDisk. And so far, I've been using the Lexar and has no issues at all. In fact, I actually bought 2 of them for my upcoming trip, and I placed it over here. So yeah, this is my battery as well as my memory card storage. So these memory cards are actually at 120 gigabytes, 128 gigabytes, which allows me to shoot for close to up to a day without having to change out the memory cards. So these are the 7 items that I can't do without regarding my new workflow for 2025. Which surprised you? I'm curious. Let me know down in the comments below. If not, see you guys in the next video.